Earlier today, Shannon, I'm going to have you kind of describe this, but Chris, for your information, we were kind of talking about these kind of virtual holding tanks, okay? Pretend that say that this is your operations, okay? Say that accounting needs to track this as well. So we have a matching piece on your accounting. We actually add little checkpoints or gates, like, okay, can you even pass? Like, we'll let you into a room, and then, okay, are you really ready to go? Okay, yeah, that's good data, no problem. Oh, and you have the permissions and whatever. Shannon, can you kind of lightly explain just like what this model is? I kind of took it away from you, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. You did a great job explaining it. Did you want me to go, or did you want to continue?
Yeah, go ahead and just, basically, I can't draw it every single time for every single action, but what happened right there is we created the expense, okay? So we advanced the ball, and automatically it tied itself to the different places of the puzzle, and it knows that it's in receivables or whatever. However, if something was wrong, we wouldn't want to let it advance to, say, the next spot. So it has to pass certain checkpoints, and then that's where we kind of take it and we put permissions on that. We literally draw permissions, if you will, on the different categories. So if it's one person doing it, I might have all permissions, so I could virtually blaze it through there very fast. But if it's in a multi-person environment, you create it, I'll check it, advance it if it's good. Like, it's kind of a checks and balances type system. Okay? I'm sorry, Shandy, I totally
I'm not concerned at all.
But just so you know, we will be referring to like different kind of holding tanks. What we do, the important piece that you need to know is Adilas, what it does is it maps back to these places as it goes over time. So this is time right here, okay? Different things happen, and then we just map back to it depending on where it's actually at. So if it's actually right here, we don't really even care about that or that. We're like, okay, cool. According to the date that you told me to map back to it or that I'm looking for, it was at this state and status. It's almost as if you're virtually watching things, driving on the road. Are they turning into the mall and parking for a while? It's almost like saying, oh, it's still in accounts payable. Okay, like, you've got to kind of think in that mentality, and you'll be able to figure out what we're doing there. Okay, cool. I can tell it's right after lunch, too. I'm like, whoa, man, I'm tired. Okay, so we just did a light little thing. No problem. We fixed it so that it was actually in the correct bucket as well. So Shannon, we're using some of these quick search stuff just as a refresher. Where do we get this information from?
On the help file, on any help file, actually, you can go to the help file.
Okay.
And there is a link for the quick search. It's not on my, there it is, Adilas quick search.
Okay, cool.
And
then you would actually go down to expense, and it would tell you which possibilities you can do, okay? Numeric, new, home, last, ADV, which is short for advanced, all, or a general alpha search if you wanted to find like a specific vendor type thing. So once you put the data in, it makes it really fast. So if you wanted to see everything you did to BATC, there you go. There's my BATC ones. If you knew a specific number, say I wanted to see what was expense number 2, click, it goes right to that specific expense. Okay. If you wanted to do all, it runs everything. Okay. If you wanted to do last, it takes you to the last one. It's just kind of like, it's quick ways to jump, and so you could technically be on any page of the system and then be able to virtually jump around. Once you know which containers you've kind of put them in, it allows you to jump. So, like we've never explained that to you, just coming in, but just so you know, we call it the quick search. Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, I get lost. I start explaining all these different things and I can't remember where I'm at. What we have done so far is basically, we had played earlier this morning with deposits, and we just barely did some expenses, okay? Another thing that expenses actually allows us to do is pay for inventory, okay? It gets a little deeper when we start doing that. We currently don't have any inventory in the system. Like, pretty much it's all been services. Like, I'm going to bill you for my time for making this dress, and I'm going to bill you for this and this and this. When you start actually getting inventory in here, how do you actually connect these guys together? Because eventually you have money coming out, don't you? And you have inventory coming in. What is kind of the connection between those two? What's the process?
POs.
Okay, cool. So in order to get it in here, kind of the heart of the application, we come through here. Vendor, purchase order, or PO, inventory, okay? Now, if we don't pay for it, what happens?
AP.
It
Stays
floats
away.
itself up to here, which once again shows up as part of the balance sheet, okay? So how do we connect these pieces of the puzzle? We use an expense, and we basically go through, and there's a certain part of the line item that we can say, hey, I'm paying for this PO, and it virtually creates a virtual tie, if you will, between the PO and the expense to actually pay for that. And then it takes it out of the AP waiting room, okay? So that's kind of the general flow of what happens on that. So we don't have any inventory. And Shannon, if you're okay with it, just for fun, this is kind of your fictitious company. Why don't you pretend like you're actually going to buy something that has a physical cost, and it could be whatever, like, you know, this is just fictitious, but I'll let you kind of, let's see if you can even go to Word and say, okay, we're going to get this and this and this, like simple, very simple, like we're looking like 2 or 3 things just to kind of show the inflow and process, and then we're going to go pay for it. That's kind of our end goal, but we have to get it in there before we pay for it.
I wish I was a seamstress.
You know a seamstress, I know that.
I do. I should learn her skills.
Just for the record, our mother, Shannon and I, we're sisters. Sorry, brother and sisters. I am not a sister. I have to be a boy.
This is true.
Our mother is awesome. She does sewing jobs for all kinds of things. Matter of fact, when I got married, she made my tux. Like, she's that kind of skills.
She is good. So we'll definitely need a vendor, and then we'll make a category as well, because I would assume if we were doing other categories, let's see, but let's bring in some thread.
So these are potentially things that you would be
bobbins.
selling back to people, okay? Like almost retail-ish. Because if you're just going to buy thread for yourself, it goes straight into an expense.
To an expense.
Straight
Exactly.
into an expense. This is inventory that you're going to put on an invoice, okay?
Right.
That's what a PO is. Like, literally, a seamstress person definitely has threads and bobbins and fabric. And this is stuff that you physically sell to somebody else that wants.
So do we want to put like finished products? Is that what you're recommending?
Maybe you stock a line of patterns or something like that. Okay.
Buttons.
Yeah. Maybe you have some custom buttons, like you have your own little small shelf, and they can kind of buy some of those buttons. And maybe you still can, but I'm just kidding.
Pattern specialty buttons, and we could sell a line of scissors too, or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. So these are just maybe just shop supplies or something.
I'd call them sewing products or something, maybe.
I guess it depends how specific, or if we
Yeah.
sell anything else. If that was all we sold, then we
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even care about having a category. But if we had a lot of others, then are we going to sell a certain brand a piece?
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
We'll sell. These will come from the call. Okay, so we'll go back in, and let's go ahead and we want to start a new purchase order. We don't have these guys. Pretty sure add the new vendor payee.
So that's a very common practice. You always search first to see if you have it, and then if you don't, you just roll right into adding.
And this will be in. Okay, so we'll add that payee. And we
So which page are you on right now? Like we just added a vendor.
Right,
You're
we added
doing
a vendor.
great. You're doing
I'm on the
great.
purchase order page, excuse me, because I started there, so it just pulled my vendor right into the purchase order. We just want a basic live purchase order. I was having a struggle, so we'll do that for me. Okay, it's going to our sewing shop, so we are just bringing in our first shipment of McCall products. And I don't know the PO amount, so we'll come back and change that. We'll say they gave us an external invoice. And yes, we have the items in our possession, so we will add the PO. So now we need to see about those things that we wanted, and we had patterns from McCall. We don't have that in there, so we'll add that new clothing item, these are called. So I'm going to call them MC patterns, because we'll have lots of patterns from other people, I'm sure.
So the word clothing item, just so you know, it's what's called a corp-wide setting, okay? So technically it runs under a parts department, but not everybody sells parts. People sell different items and products and SKUs, and so we allow you to virtually smoke and mirrors, it's called a setting, but you change it in one spot and we'll cascade it through the system so we speak your language, okay? And we can go back and change that, like whoever set up the original demo site probably said, yeah, we'll probably end up having clothing that we'll sell, but we're actually, I would just call it items. If you wanted to be very generic, okay, but the part number equals items, it's just an alias.
And in here, I actually didn't load our category before we started, so I'm just going to pop out right now actually and added a clothing item category, and we wanted to call this sewing products. So sewing, add that category. Okay, and we'll just go back a couple pages, and I'll just refresh this. Okay, so now we've got our sewing products in there. And
it did change your number as well, your main item number.
Perfect. I'll go back and fix that. Thank you. We had 150 of those.
And you realize if you were really selling patterns, you might actually want to be like, I got 5 of these and 2 of these and 1 of these. But like right now,
Yeah,
for the demo purpose, that's fine. Go ahead and
you probably want to put them under their call numbers, and you would definitely want to detail it out a lot more than that.
If that was your deal, we're just trying to get some inventory into the system so we can pay for it.
That's we'll perfect. Say they were $2.50 per pattern, and we're going to be selling them for, patterns are expensive. We're going to sell ours for $12.99. And yeah, use the sell price. That's what we want.
So you're in a 5.2 markup right now. So you know, that's right. That's perfect.
I was like, that's probably what it is.
No, that's very normal.
Add that clothing item. Okay, perfect. So we've got that on our PO. We had a couple other things we wanted to add. We wanted to add specialty buttons.
So she's just actually building her own item numbers.
God.
Ideally, you could even get from the vendor what the item number is, but she's just kind of ad-libbing it right now just a little bit.
Yeah, it would definitely be better. We do want to monitor our quantities, and these are sewing products again. So our buttons ran, because they're specialty buttons, at, they cost us 75 cents a piece, and we're going to sell them at $3.25. So we're going to use the sell price, and we'll just add that clothing item. So we had one more we wanted to add, some scissors.
So every single time you can see it again and again. If there's not a vendor, you search for it, and then you add a new one. Once it exists, you can just use that one over and over and over again. Once you create these items, once they exist in the system, you can just go back in there and add and add. You can sell them and sell them and sell them. You have to kind of create that placeholder. So every single piece is almost like creating a virtual bucket. And then you're like, okay, cool. Part number bucket, scissors, you need to hold this information. Here's your description, here's your number, here's your this, okay? But you have to kind of create that bucket. And then we're going to use it in and out all the time, but it has to kind of get created first as part of the system.
Okay, so those are the items we wanted to add. We had patterns and buttons, and we've got scissors. So that handled that. That basically took care of it all, actually. We added our category. We have this linked to McCall's, and now we have a PO, so we can go to our PO homepage. Oh, I didn't fix the main. Glad it told me that. So it's not happy because I don't have the right amount on there. So we'll just go back in and edit that. It's actually right up here that I don't have the total amount. I didn't change that because I didn't know what it would be. But it added it up for me, so we've got $936.75. And we'll edit that PO. So it's much happier now. I can go to my PO homepage and everything looks good. So we've got that in there.
Okay, so technically, what happens, because it has 0 payments, our inventory just went up. Okay, so that's an automatic feed to the balance sheet item. We now have XYZ quantities of this stuff. Okay, and we also have a payable that basically came up right out of the PO. The PO is like, hey, I'm assuming at some point somebody's got to pay for this. Okay, so all of a sudden our inventory went up and our payables went up. Okay, we're happy. We're up sweet to that stage. Okay, to that stage. Awesome. Okay, just to show you where those are at, and I know we're kind of bouncing all around, but I just wanted to show you for just a second. Did anything happen on the P&L on that transaction?
Shouldn't have.
Nothing happened, okay? Nothing happened. We didn't hit revenue, we didn't hit cost of goods sold, we didn't hit expenses at all yet, okay? Did anything happen on the balance sheet? 2 things happened on the balance sheet, okay? Inventory went up,
Yes, that's true.
and my liabilities went up, okay? I now owe more pieces, okay? So watch this. We'll click on balance sheet, we'll just run it. This is kind of just a trial balance. We have other ones that actually format it to make it look really pretty like a balance sheet. This is kind of almost like a virtual trial balance, okay? Like just so that you can kind of get an idea. Like some people are like, whoa, how's that a balance sheet? We're just pulling you back numbers, kind of saying, hey, here's where you're at. Snapshot in time, okay? If you really wanted to be serious about it, you can go like this. Build a new report. Here's your other settings. Search and start adding. And if you wanted to change anything as far as the capitalization, and then eventually you create it into a balance sheet. This is kind of what a traditional one kind of looks like, okay? But what we do is it's the exact same numbers. What we are trying to do here is basically like, bam, bam, let's just hit it. Bam, bam, what have we got? Okay, so a couple things happened. We didn't affect banks at all. We do have some more items in here. Let's view this little lookup right here. Oh, looks like somebody actually brought some different pieces in, okay? Like, and we would actually probably have to look, I bet you if we look, this was clear back in 2012. This is just a demo site. But check this out. Here's some new items coming in through McCall's. And if we wanted to go into any of these pieces, depending on how deep we wanted to go, we could actually look. Here's the inventory that I have, cost. Here's an average cost. Here's my prices. Here's my quantities. Like, it has all of these different little pieces of the information already. Okay, we're just going to back up. We basically went into right here. This increased. Okay, the next thing that also increased was this guy, which is technically under a liability under your accounts payable. It's slightly different than what's owed on account. It's now in the PO category of that portion. Okay, and there's the full value of our PO that we just added. So technically, we just hit the balance sheet in 2 places: inventory, payables. Okay, so how do we actually pay for this now? Okay, let's go home for just a second. Say we're looking at the map here. Where would I go to actually pay for this? I have 2 choices. I can go right to the AP waiting room, which is technically what do I owe, or I could say, you know what, I'm ready. I am ready, ready, ready. I'm just going to go make a check out to McCall right now. Like, which way would you like to go?
Let's go to our AP waiting.
Okay, great. We're going to click on AP waiting room, and it's going to come back and say, oh, looks like you owe Adilas $47. It's under the splits column. You don't owe any reimbursements. And under POs, you don't owe Adilas any POs. But under McCall's, you do owe POs. Okay? And so then if I wanted to, I could literally just click on it, click, and it takes me to the McCall's. It says, hey, just so you know, PO number 4, no payments have been applied yet, and here's how much you owe. And I can't click this thing because of this guy. So basically, a PO, once again, this is kind of built for a multiple level interface, okay? But if you have all the different little spots with the checkpoints, okay, And what's going on? Somebody just created a PO. They advanced the ball to this stage, okay? However, nobody has verified it yet, so that's why it's saying, oh, I can't even click on that thing, okay? What we need to do is, if you have the correct permission, you advance to the next stage so that you can click on it, okay? So here's what we're going to do. And once again, this is kind of set up for multi-people. Like some people are like, oh my goodness, why do I have to verify this? It's set up to service a multi-level environment, okay? It's literally this easy. Not yet. Was that a good PO? You could check it. You could go into the edit mode and look at it and all kinds of stuff. But this is how easy it is to verify it. Click, click, okay? Rolls me right back around and says, cool, now I have a date and I know who verified it. I know who advanced that ball, okay? And potentially it could be multiple people. Now I'm ready to pay for it. Do we want to pay for the whole thing or part of it? What do you think?
Let's pay for part.
So as a friendly note, okay, guess what? Our bank balance is going to be fed up in here at the top, okay, to our default check writing bank. So it's kind of like, how much do I have? Okay, if I paid $900 and I have $1,200 right now, okay, I can cover that. That's only going to leave me $500. What else do I have coming? Like, you might have to check stuff, but we're trying to help you. Like, hey, just so you know, here's what I'm showing the bank has right now. Okay, so we're going to pay for the whole thing?
Let's pay part. Or
It doesn't make a bit of difference.
Pay it off.
Okay.
Great. Sure.
You click here. If you wanted to change it, you would just alter that field right there, okay? Then you click Pay. What it will do is currently, just so you know, we're on the Payables homepage. It's going to go to a subsection that's going to say, I'm going to do a special thing to create an expense and tie it to a PO. Okay? It's going to go to a next little page. You're going to hit Pay, Start PO Payment Receipt, okay? You're going to come down. Here's what I'm going to be paying, PO number 4. I'm actually making a full payment on it. Here's its number. If this invoice number was important and they didn't want to see PO number 4, I could literally just copy this and go like this. Or whatever I needed to do there. If they needed to see that 7654 when they're doing their billing, like we're not sure what you need pulled in there. So we kind of like, hey, just so you know, here's some extra information you may or may not need. And then you just modify it if you need it, okay? So it's PO. So maybe they don't even want to see PO number 4. And it depends on the company or how you're doing it. This is for invoice number 7654, okay? Currently it was on account, but I am actually going to go ahead and do a check from First National. And my next check number, basically I would look right here to see what it was. 2293. Okay, boom. I come down. Because this was all inventory, I can now, this is the bucket on the expense line item of how do I want this to happen, okay? I want to make sure that it doesn't get mapped to the P&L because this is an automatic transaction that's happening on the balance sheet, okay? So I'm going to look for one that says inventory balance sheet, okay? Balance sheet BS, inventory, perfect. That's the bucket I want to put that one into, okay? Create the expense. I'm rolled into number 7 right here. It's ready for me to print the check. We've already done that a couple times. And it's paid out to McCall. Here's the other really important piece right here. See how it's tied to PO number 4? Well, technically what happens if I go to PO number 4, it now says, hey, guess what? I'm fully paid. Sorry, I was just trying to get that bottom part. And I have one payment that actually, that's how many times it took to solve me. If I clicked on this, it would actually have a link right back to expense receipt number 7 for what's going on. We're starting to kind of create that full circle. Where are my connections and what are my pieces?